Hi guys, thank you for joining me for another video. Today's video, this Travis Scott Astroworld Festival. And of course, by now everyone knows about what happened on Friday, November 5th at his concert when at least 8 people were killed from being crushed to death um, when they were encouraged to rush the stage and have a mosh pit of people. And so most people who have done videos, I am seeing and noticing, are definitely correlating this to a sacrifice, a ritual, magic, witchcraft, evil, Illuminati, just any of those words and descriptions definitely rightly describes what this was. Um, when you see the venue, the entire venue just looked evil, devilish, satanic, hellish. It just looked just pure evil, like pure evil, a portal to hell. It was evil. And um, and whenever you see pictures or statues of the Baphomet is Satan, the devil, okay? Luring children, which is why they have children here, to bring in these children. They want the lives of children. This is child sacrifice, blood sacrifice rituals that they do all the time. Okay, and most of these people who are in these secret societies position themselves so that they can have access to a lot of children at one time. So these concerts, schools, children's homes, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, churches, sports, entertainment, anything, any field or occupation that gives access to children. And these pedophiles, these evil people who want to take their lives, blood rituals, satanic rituals, and a lot of these children who have been trafficked and have gone through satanic ritual abuse and all kinds of evil that we can never imagine. That is what they want, to bring in this energy. So to hear about the young people who were at this concert who lost their lives, and you could tell that it was evil because people were already stirred up before they even got to the concert, to the venue. When people got there, people were actually being trampled on just to get in. People were rushing to get to the stage, something pulling them, so that is definitely from the music itself, the energy there, the spirits there, that seducing spirit luring them. It's like mind control. It is mind control. I mean, they had that same negative energy to rush, to stampede, trample, just to enter, to get in, So of course, once the music and the fire, the flashes of light, the portal to hell, all these different images, it just increased it that much more. That demonic energy that was stirred up there. It is devastating. It's very devastating, and we just need to know the times. We need to know the times that we're in. I mean, think about not just with music and the movies. I mean, that's why most of these horror movies revolve around children. Children being taken, being possessed, being the killers themselves, being tormented by demonic spirits or by a stalker or killer trying to kill them. It's always those movies, images, luring kids, trying to bring them in to kill them. And even with nursery rhymes, remember, or just the stories that we used to hear, like the Hansel and Gretel and Rockabye Baby, and it's just a very evil, satanic system in place. The world system. The world system is satanic. So this concert was no different. The reason I wanted to do this video is to also point out that this, of course, is common, very common, and it is not new to the music industry of these events, where people have been trampled on, crushed, encouraged to rush the stage and stampede, and unfortunately they have had a lot of victims. I was very shocked to see that the Astroworld event had the least number of casualties and deaths. It was equally traumatic, but compared to the other events, it had way fewer casualties, deaths, but still based upon gross neglect. Gross neglect. When I came across this article, and it's from the Matador Network. I will link the I'll put the link in the description. But this Astroworld Festival was basically number 11, like the top 11. This was number 11. So as horrendous as this was, there were other events that have taken place over the past 30, 40 years, if not longer, where people have been crushed to death. And the question that I, of course, want to know is always, well, it's a question, but it's one that I already know the answer to. Okay. Why are these things allowed to happen? What about the measures taking place, the protocols, the safety measures, the security measures? Why have those things been neglected? Okay. And when I came across these different articles, of course, the Astroworld Festival, where the surging crowds led to pandemonium that turned fatal. 8 people were ultimately pronounced dead, and dozens more were rushed to the hospital. That was number 11 on the list. Then came number 10. This was the Roskilde Festival in Denmark in 2000. 9 men were killed at a Pearl Jam concert when people rushed the stage and those in front collapsed. Said several had fallen and the crowd pressed on, suffocating those at the bottom of the pile. And it says that Pearl Jam later referenced the incident in one of their songs, Love Boat Captain, with the line, "Lost 9 friends will never know." Just to stop right there. So, because this Travis Scott Festival was a ritual as well, we also understand that there are spirits, there are incantations, there are spells from the music, through the music itself, and then through the lyrics, the words, so that if you play it backwards, the words actually have a satanic message. Okay, so most of these rock stars and rap stars and just anyone really in the industry at all, not to say every single person, but most people who are in the industry who are very successful and have reached great success in the industry, know all about this, about these ritualistic things. And because I remember John Todd back in the 70s had warned that there were people who were, they would do like a satanic circle, a ritual, and they would have like the master record or the master album was put in the center, and then they would put curses on it and spells and all kinds of evil demonic magic and things like that onto the master. And so when they made copies of it, it would just also be spread that way as well. So the fact that Pearl Jam, oh yeah, they added that line, lost 9 friends, we'll never know. That's a ritual in and of itself, because yeah, these people, the people who are not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera, behind the scenes, they're the ones who truly know about spells, evil, magic, witchcraft. These are the people who design the sets. They're the ones who, when you go out to a festival, they have set up all the props. They have put all these images, and at the Travis Scott, as you saw, it was just, I mean, it just looked like hell. It literally looked like the portal or a gateway to hell. That's exactly what it looked like. Just a portal to hell. It really did. It like a portal to hell. And the head, the giant head of him, it looked like, you know, the people walking through that tunnel, like flies or bees, like a swarm of something was coming out of his mouth. You know, that has been used in horror movies, or even in movies that, like The Green Mile, I remember they used that. And that was to depict evil spirits or unclean, like either disease or some infirmity or illness that was being taken out and, you know, put into someone else, as we saw in the movie. But flies were also, like swarms of flies, that was also used, of course, in the Bible as one of the plagues that God had sent to Egypt, okay, for them not letting the children of Israel go, okay. But so yeah, so that was number 10. So number 9, the Who at Cincinnati Riverfront Stadium. There were 11 deaths, and this was in 1979. It said that more than 18,000 tickets were sold, and there were only 25 police officers allotted for crowd control. Think about that. I mean, they had already poorly planned this event. They did not have the manpower that they needed to control the crowds. And so it was deliberate. And it said it was set to begin at 8, but the doors were still closed at 7:45. So, of course, when they opened the doors, there was a surge towards the doors. Sound familiar? Black Friday. Okay. Shoppers anxious to get in, to get the best deals and to get those videos and to get those appliances and electronics, rush the doors. Okay, that's pandemonium. That's the spirit of pandemonium. It actually comes from a demonic spirit, pandemonium, which comes from Greek mythology. The flute player, you know, the The pan flute is named after him. Half human, half horse or ram or something, who plays his flute in the woods with the nymphs. But this says that, okay, so as a result of the tragedy, new regulations were put into effect to keep order during large concerts that are still practiced today. Well, those regulations are still not good enough, obviously. I mean, we know that there have been dozens of concerts or thousands of concerts that have gone smoothly. People, they had the right protocols in place. They knew they had the manpower. They had people divided and split up so that, you know, you couldn't have just one large group of gathering right by the stage. You know, they have barriers, and they block off spaces where people can go and can't go. So everything is organized. Okay, that's great. But it always takes a tragedy, doesn't it? I mean, why does it always take deaths for them to be like, oh, you're right, you know, maybe we should have thought this one through a little bit more? I mean, just the fact that they had 25 police officers at that event proves that they did not have the expertise, the knowledge, or how about just the common sense to know that with such a large gathering, you need a whole lot, especially when there's alcohol being served there at these events, and people were smoking weed. So, hello. It's just, it makes you say, okay, why weren't these measures put in place? Why weren't they prepared? Why did this have to happen? And the answer is that it's deliberate. These people know that it's going to kill people. That's a part of the sacrifice. So this is a part of the whole system, the system that is in place, this world system, this evil world system. Satan, who is the prince of the power of the air, okay, who has allowed these people in these places to be in those places, in these positions, okay, and they work together, the network of people coming together to create mayhem and destruction, okay? So the next one was number 8, okay, so the Malazine Festival, and this was in Morocco in 2009, but it said many international stars played, including Stevie Wonder, Kylie Minogue, and Ennio Morricone. But there were 11 people who were crushed to death. And once again, it says the attendees blamed the tragedy on the police, who closed several exits, ushering the crowds through others that were not destined for the purpose. Think about it. Okay, so the police, they closed several exits, ushering crowds through others that were not destined for the purpose. Yet they blamed fans. They said, oh, they were just too eager to leave. And, you know, of course, they were desperate. People were dying. People were being crushed to death. And, of course, it led to pandemonium. But because the people who attended the concert blamed the police again. The police are definitely involved in these events on a Freemasonic level, okay? Freemasonry, again. Yes, this brotherhood, this Illuminati circle, secret societies, whatever, where people who are supposed to serve and protect are not doing either, who are caging in people and creating the perfect conditions to make these types of things happen, where it's inevitable that people are going to be crushed, killed, and people are going to freak out. They're going to just, you know, they say, oh, they just, you know, they got too excited. They were just rushing. No, these people, they were, it was chaos. Because, of course, these people panicked. And the word panic itself also comes from the word pan. So pandemonium, panic, that was the energy that they wanted to produce. That was the way that they wanted people to react. Okay? That was definitely that was like the spirit. It was a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing. So for the police to not once again have things under control. The number 7, the Love Parade. Berlin refused to host the Love Parade in 2010. The event was canceled. So in 2010, where there were 21 deaths, it was hosted in Duisburg. There, an underpass that led to the concert grounds became clogged with people who entered the tunnel despite no one into the festival at the time. Panic in the tunnel left 19 dead at the scene. 2 survivors later died. So somehow they were able to get through this tunnel leading to the festival, and it got clogged. So once again, not having safety measures in place, not being able to foresee, because unfortunately we are very reactionary. Police are very reactionary. They don't proactively do anything. It just seems like there is no foresight to pre-plan, to plan in advance, to have everything secured, have everything, just you have to go over your protocols, you have to test them out, kind of have drills to make sure that you can foresee and plan out all the things that all the things that may happen, may not happen. You have to be able to plan out for those things and to account for those things. Take those things into account. They just don't. They don't take anything into account. Well, as a common sense type of situation, we need to make sure we block all these places. People can get in here, through here. But all they're thinking about at the time, the promoters, all of these people, they should be having their security tight. Just having, being able to kind of foresee, people are going to try to get in this way, that way, and to have those safety protocols in place. But they don't. It always takes tragedies like this for them to react. And sometimes it's very, very slowly. Sometimes it takes many deaths. They'll be like, okay, finally we'll do this. And so once again, we say, why are police and the security people and people who are holding these events not, why don't they know this? Why are they allowing this to happen? Because they want it to. That's the sinister plan in all of this. They want it to. Okay, I could go on and on. Okay, number 6, the ghost ship fire, Oakland, California, where 36 were killed. That was awful, awful. 5, the Indiana State Fair stage collapse. Now, this is the one that I really remember, where Sugarland performed. And this was back in 2011 in Indianapolis, Indiana, 56 deaths, okay? They say that strong winds upended the metal scaffolding and stage equipment at the 2011 Indiana State Fair while a crowd was packed into the concert venue. Audiences had been waiting for an outdoor performance by Sugarland when 70-mile-per-hour wind blew the fairground and caused the stage to collapse. The disaster resulted in the tragic deaths of 56 concert goers. Once again, poor planning. Now, weather conditions, looking to see, what is the weather going to be like? What are the winds going to be like? We need to make this stronger. We need to make this sturdier. We need to, or how about this? We need to cancel. Once you see that the weather or the winds are picking up and things are getting kind of, unsafe, for you to be out there performing and for a large crowd to be congregating outside in such a tight space, maybe you could just cancel it. But you see, they don't want to cancel because they want that money. They want that money. And that's the biggest, pull is just, we want money. So we're not gonna do anything, they'll be okay. Someone, whoever was the event planner, the people behind the scenes should have just come together and said, this is getting kind of dangerous and treacherous out here. The winds are picking up. We need to go ahead and cancel this thing. But no one did that. and 56 people died. Number 4, the Santika nightclub fire, and this was in 2009 in Thailand. Yeah, some of the things that they highlight in this article was the fact that the club was never sanctioned as basically, okay, so this nightclub, it says it had hundreds rang in the new year. Some mention sparklers, some say that they had an electrical problem. Others say it started as a result of pyrotechnics in the club. It's possible that fireworks from outside the club started the blaze. But it says other known facts are that the club was never sanctioned as such. Never sanctioned to have this in place, and never received a fire inspection. Okay? It was equipped with one fire extinguisher for the entire building, and inspection papers were forged to keep the club operating. Exits had been welded shut to prevent patrons from skipping out on their bills, which meant that marked exits were non-existent. 60 people ended up dead from the resulting fire. How evil. How evil. So that money is the love of money. It's the love of money is truly the root of all evil. So not only was there fraud involved, where they said inspection papers, and that's the other thing. All of these people collectively work together. They have friends, they have networks. Oh yeah, well, I need to use this inspector. I need to use this person over here because I know that they'll forge it for me. They'll just they'll okay it. They will pass it. They will do all these things to get paid. On the side. They will say anything. They will okay it. And basically, this reminds me of the movie with Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves. And it was The Devil's Advocate, where people for money, fame, position, importance, as just a way to get business, business deals, all these things. They will do any of these things for money, and they will lie, they will cheat, steal, and kill to get this done. So for them to have these doors welded shut and to have such just irresponsibly allowing these things to take place inside pyrotechnics in the club. I mean, so, and you only have one fire extinguisher in the whole place. That's evil. It's just pure evil, and just completely forget neglectful, negligent, forget just nefarious. It's very just nefarious to mark exits that aren't really exits. People are trapped in a building, a small tight space where you are allowing fireworks to go off. So once again, these things are planned and they are known about well in advance. These people are not, they don't care about safety measures being put in place. All they care about is money and sacrifice. Okay, so number 3, Station nightclub fire. This was 100 deaths, Rhode Island, 2003. Crowds were well past fire capacity at the nightclub. And they were watching the band Great White. The band's tour manager set off some pyrotechnics that set insulation ablaze, and it took a while for the audience to understand that the flames weren't part of the show. Once they did, there was a mass exodus, but most tried to leave the way they'd entered. The ensuing stampede crushed and knocked over many, and people died from suffocation, smoke inhalation, or were claimed by the fire itself. And this included even Great White's lead guitarist Ty Longley. In 2010, the club's owners, the foam manufacturers of the hazardous and toxic building insulation Anheuser-Busch, Clear Channel Broadcasting, and the town of West Ward settled for $176 million to to be distributed among the survivors of the fire and the children and families of those who perished. Once again, reactionary things going on, not proactive things. People are not being proactive. They're not looking beyond money and just their attendance. They're, those things that need to be done, the foundational things like the safety, security, making sure that everything is in its place, that people can safely enter and exit the building, making sure that they have multiple drills, safety drills that they can go through to escort people out, in and out of the building, having, fire extinguishers, making sure that you are not allowed to have pyrotechnics in a small building or in any building that is not equipped to put out fires and to get people out safely and quickly. So once again, that in and of itself, that was just, once again, poor planning, or maybe it was planned that way. We say poor planning. I say poor planning sometimes, but maybe that was the plan. That was the plan to have this to happen, because people are so evil. Number two. Okay, number two. The Beverly Hills Supper Club fire. This was in 1977, Kentucky, 165 deaths. It says the Beverly Hills Supper Club was a sprawling maze of a club in Kentucky located just across the bridge from Cincinnati, Ohio. Several events were going on at the same time on the night of the fire, including banquets, receptions, and a John Davidson concert, all connected by narrow passages within the structure. The exact fire was never discovered, but the fire covered by two. That interesting was all of these cases that go unsolved, don't have cause, things, and the ornate were two of at least for only over Walter Bailey. You can announce several people when the fire crowd and they tried to once again they had no concern for okay, so we have the club fire. Supper club is Ohio. So this was 5 banquet by marriageway with structure. The exact cause of the fire was never determined, but what is known is that the fire was well underway when it was discovered by 2 waitresses. The ornate cabaret room where 2 comics were warming up an audience for at least 1,000 people, space meant for about 600. So once again, people who are money allow way more. Okay, oh, they want to get it so bad, but you know that the billing or the building was inspected for a certain capacity. Okay, you know that the building was approved for a certain capacity and for you not to go over that capacity, and yet you are allowing 1,000 people in a space only meant for like 600. But because you want the money, you let them in. Completely negligent. So, of course, people were trampled as they tried to escape. This so could have been avoided, of how easily these things could be avoided if the right planning was in place, the right protocols were followed, making sure that you did not have overcapacity. I mean, there's a reason that they have capacity limits, but because of the love of money, they allowed this to happen. They allowed this to happen. And because it's just an evil system. They don't care about people. They don't care. They're like, oh, well, we got this money. Not even thinking ahead, oh, well, there are going to be lawsuits involved. Business is going to go downhill when they see how you take care of patrons there, how well you look out for them. You know, I mean, they don't see that part. They're so blinded by the love of money. And the number one, which, this is a terrible list, was the Cromagnon fire. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. In Buenos Aires, Argentina, where it claimed the lives of 194 people. Where, once again, overcapacity. They had nearly 3 times the crowd size that the club was zoned for. Yeah, they have these zoning laws. You know, when you have zone, you know, you're zoned for this and zoned for that. They have ordinances, zones. They have laws for you to keep. You need to be able to follow these instructions. These are very tight. These are regulations, for safety regulations and guidelines for you to operate a business. If you're opening up your business and allowing patrons to come in to eat, drink, listen to music, to live music in a space, you need to make sure that that space is completely that space have a drill. You have safety measures in place of how people can enter and exit. You need to have a certain number of exits, okay, for people to leave out safely. You have to have like the protocols in place so that people, when they when something goes wrong, that there are people on deck there who can safely escort people out, okay, that make announcements, not waiting until the last minute, making sure that if there are anything like technical things going on, you know, if you are using any fireworks whatsoever in the vicinity, you need to make sure that there is equipment there to make sure that everyone can get out safely, that you can put out the fires, you know, because pyrotechnics, I'm like, why would you do that if you only have one fire extinguisher? Are you crazy? So it says the club had several doors that were permanently locked shut. Again, doors locked shut. And emergency exits were fenced off to prevent people from sneaking in and avoiding a cover charge. So they care more about, you know, people not paying and sneaking in without paying than they do about people actually being able to leave if something goes wrong inside the club. Okay? And it said that they had went a month, they were a month overdue for affection and they had no sprinkler system. Sprinkler system 200 casualties because of the resulting of inhaling smoke and toxic fumes rather than being crushed or burned. How tragic, how avoidable, but for that love of that mighty dollar, and just for evil's sake, not caring about the well-being of your patrons, not caring about their safety, about their lives, just that you can make money and you are going to prevent them from, you know, skipping out without paying. That means you need to beef up on security, not weld doors, not lock doors. Cannot bring this back in. yes, these patients do not do that. Makes sense when people are like, well, how did they allow this? How did one is doing the job, the right these you have make regulations and safety protocols, or anytime you that and turning a blind, I'm like, hundreds of had to die for something to be done about it, but we know that people had to know turn the blind. So why rather money than to see safety measures put in place? And then the other thing is some of them don't even want to spend the money they have willing to make sure that it is safe patrons to come in. They just want to save a nickel. They're frugal hard, but now have the union patronize any of these places ever again for allowing this to happen, for not having the foresight, the intuition, just the common sense and the, you know, legally to follow the law. You cannot have X amount of people in a venue that is set up for capacity of this or that, the other. You know, I mean, those are just basic things. But for it to be allowed by not just police and the people who are running the events and inspectors, so they're all working to just turn. When it does, we did. Now that we know, we'll do something about it. But you did know all along. You did know all along. So this whole, the Travis Scott, I mean, it's definitely something that is so tragic. I am thankful that more people did not die. There were people, hundreds of people who were injured, and just the trauma of seeing it, that will haunt them for the rest of their lives. But these artists, the managers, the people, the event planner, the organizers, and the police and the security, all of these people, okay, all the head honchos need to be held accountable, okay? That this show should have been stopped. It should have just been stopped. And when they saw those people coming in the beginning, I mean, the thing is that for the Travis Scott concert, there were people pushing their way in when it was still, you know, daylight. I'm like, okay, people were coming in. I don't know if they had paid. Obviously, they were people who were just they had not paid maybe, and they were pushing their way through the barriers and the barricades to get to the concert, forcing their way in. And I'm like, someone was recording this and no one told anything. That they didn't alert security, hey, there are a bunch of people back there. They are pushing their way in and running, you know, rushing to get to the stage. And it was like a summoning, a beckoning in the stage. That energy was there. And I have seen videos where people have actually rightly said, you know, this was definitely because of the frequencies, the vibrations of the music itself, you know, because when you look at Travis Scott, just looking at the venue itself should tell you, oh, this is like satanic. But then when you just, you know, the music and the things that they were used to hearing because of his music, you know, it probably has subliminal messages in there anyways, so that's the energy that they brought to the concert with them anyways. You know, they just do wild, okay, just wild and just caring about safety, not caring about a man, just going in there to get your groove on. Okay? We know that, you know, songs that artists sing have subliminal messages and spells, not frequencies and vibrations, but the order of the lyric when they are, again, they have a hidden message. You know, this is when people, these people just like a, you know, bees, like it was hypnotized, it was almond, and just to, and did not have, everyone was in play, it set up so that people could safely exit out and get to facilities and places to go to get to. But a concert I mean, once again, keep saying, how is this allowed? Why is this allowed? That, innocently overlooking something. No, they knew that stuff like this happens because it's happened so many times in the past. And just from a common sense thing, they have zones, they have protocol in place, they have capacity limits, they have safety guidelines they have to follow, but none of those things were followed as a sacrifice. So yes, this was the ritual. This is an evil world we live in. Evil. And there are Freemasons, there are people in secret, I keep saying Freemasons, just one who's in societies other than people who protect and serve us are following someone's there mandatory jabs that they're pushing down everybody's throats. That we are seeing a shortage of a lot of different people, doctors and nurses and police, the people that we need. But when the people who are in power and who are wicked and under these brotherhoods or they take order, they take orders, their higher ups. It has nothing to do with a workforce as far as they. This is like it's like we know we do things together. We allow these things to happen. So when that's the thing. That's the sadly. It is done deliberately. The children of Satan. Okay, children of Satan. They have decided to forego. They have decided to just ignore anything that is good and honest and decent, and have run after the love of money, power, position, connections. Rather than God being their source for everything, they want man to be the source. So they're like, oh, well, I'm doing this to get ahead, so I can make this money and I can, make my way up into the rankings, things like that. But I am praying for the families. Oh my goodness, I'm praying for the families of those who lost, still in the hospital, they're injured. Everyone, because this is jarring, on so many levels, and just to see it happening right there, and for the news media to, in the beginning, just say, oh, this is going to be a great day. And that's how they started. They're like, oh, this is going to be a great event. Oh, look at all these people out here. There were things that even in those shots, we were like, okay, they need to make sure that they have enough people on the ground to, make sure that everyone is safe, spread out, and they can't rush through everything like that. But another thing I wanted to say, Travis Scott connected to the Kardashian family, and we know that, there have been rumors, and I don't think they're just rumors. I think that these people do actually practice witchcraft, because the men in their families have all been affected in some way by these women. It's like a coven of witches who drag on male energy, and especially black male energy. Okay. And I just said black male energy, I just thought of the word of blackmail. That's where blackmail comes from, as in to use someone and to force them into doing something because you've got something on them.
Air 11 over NRG Park, where Travis Scott's much anticipated Astroworld Festival is in full swing. You can see it all going down there. The event is 2 days and is expected to attract tens of thousands of music lovers. The festival officially opened at 1 this afternoon. Zach Tawatari joins us with how things are going so far. Zach?
Guys, Astroworld is out of this world. The festival kicking off in its 3rd year. Fans from all over have come to NRG Park. 2 stages, a carnival, even complete with a Ferris wheel. Fans of Travis Scott say this atmosphere is unbeatable.
It's a blessing. Travis Scott is the GOAT, and just to be here and have this experience is just amazing. And I got to give it all out to Travis. He's, he's such a legend in Houston, and everybody here's got so much love.
And people have been shelling out the big bucks. One guy telling us he spent $500 on merchandise and $400 just to get in the gates. But that's what people are paying to get here and enjoy this atmosphere. We'll have much more for you coming up tonight. Zach Tawatari, KHOU 11 News. Let's send it back to you.
All right, Zach, thank you.
So they want black males to blackmail. I don't know where that came from, but I'm sure there's something to it, because these people, you know, they have all these women. It's just, oh, the women, the women, the women. You know, we are one. We are the ones who have the power and the control, and the men just seem like to be weaker and weaker. I mean, look at what happened to Bruce Jenner. He was one of the only reason that I used to watch the Kardashians back, you know, over like 12, 13, 14 years ago, was because of Bruce Jenner, because he was such a strong male role model, and we would pay them. You know, the whatever they did to get day. I'm going to leave off here because, but yes, all people would know what it is. It was really a blood sacrifice done many years. These are the due to cause casualties of lives. Watching today, and I hope that I very soon